There is a moment that many people over 60 have experienced, but rarely understand what is actually happening. You wake up in the middle of the night, usually around 2 to 3 a.m., completely alert, your heart racing, your mind more active than during the day. And the most confusing part is that you cannot fall back asleep, even though your body clearly still needs rest. For many years, this problem has often been simply explained as stress or adrenal hormone imbalance. But recent observations and deeper biological analyses have shown that this explanation does not address the root cause. When you solve the wrong problem, you will never truly solve the symptom. To understand this, you need to start with a basic biological principle that very few people are clearly taught. When you sleep, the brain does not use energy from the muscles, even though muscles can store a large amount of glycogen. Instead, the brain depends almost entirely on energy supplied by the liver. A healthy liver stores enough energy to fuel the brain throughout the night without any issue. But when the liver is impaired, whether due to fat accumulation, inflammation, or insulin resistance, its ability to provide stable fuel becomes disrupted. And this is where the problem you are experiencing begins. When the liver cannot supply energy steadily, blood sugar levels start to fluctuate. You may not notice this while you are asleep, but your body does. These fluctuations can occur multiple times during the night, creating repeated cycles of rising and falling levels. When blood sugar drops below a certain threshold, the brain sends an emergency signal to demand more fuel. This signal is not gentle. It triggers a survival response. The body releases a hormone that can mobilize energy very quickly. That hormone is adrenaline, and this is what wakes you up. Adrenaline does not just raise blood sugar. It activates the entire nervous system. That is why you can feel unusually alert in the middle of the night, even though it should be your deepest sleep phase. It is important to understand that adrenaline is not the only hormone involved in sleep. Cortisol also plays a key role, but it works differently. Cortisol tends to rise gradually and peak in the morning to help you wake up. If your circadian rhythm is disrupted, cortisol may rise at the wrong time. This can cause you to wake up earlier than expected, often around 5 a.m. But for those waking at 2 to 3 a.m., adrenaline is the primary factor. Another often overlooked factor is what is called sleep pressure. This is a biological mechanism that helps you fall into deep sleep and stay there. When you are younger, this pressure is strong, but it gradually declines over time. If you are not physically active enough during the day, sleep pressure will not be strong enough to keep you in deep sleep. This makes you more vulnerable to being awakened by internal changes, including blood sugar fluctuations. And when that happens, you wake up fully. The liver does not just provide fuel to the brain, it also performs many critical functions at night. This is when the liver burns fat, detoxifies, produces bile, and regulates various biological processes. If the liver is not functioning efficiently, all of these processes are disrupted. One common sign of poor liver function is a feeling of heaviness or fullness under the right rib cage. Some people also experience pain radiating to the right shoulder or upper back. These symptoms are often mistaken for musculoskeletal issues, but they are actually related to the liver and gallbladder. The causes of liver problems are rarely a single factor. They are usually the result of multiple habits accumulated over time. Industrial seed oils, processed foods, refined sugars, and starches all contribute to this condition. Late-night snacking is one of the most powerful factors disrupting liver function. When you continuously supply energy at a time when the body needs rest, the liver never gets the opportunity to complete its work. This leads to accumulation and dysfunction within the system. Alcohol is another major factor that many people underestimate. Regular drinking, even over a short period, can significantly impair liver function. And when the liver is affected, sleep is one of the first systems to suffer. Another nutritional factor to consider is choline. This is an essential nutrient that helps the liver process fat and maintain cellular structure. If your diet lacks choline, the liver becomes more prone to fat accumulation and dysfunction. In addition, the body needs sulfur-containing compounds to support detoxification. These compounds are found in foods like garlic, onions, and cruciferous vegetables. Without them, the liver's ability to eliminate toxins is reduced. Another approach to solving this issue is to change how the body produces and uses energy. Instead of relying entirely on glucose, the body can use ketones as an alternative fuel source. This reduces the burden on the liver and stabilizes energy supply to the brain. A low-carbohydrate diet, when done properly, can help the body transition into using ketones. However, this transition does not happen immediately. During the early phase, you may still experience sleep disturbances. That is why the transition should be gradual, rather than cutting carbohydrates abruptly. This allows the body to adapt and reduces negative reactions. After 1 to 2 weeks, the system begins to stabilize. Beyond diet, several other factors can support improvement. Apple cider vinegar may help regulate blood sugar, especially when taken before meals. B vitamins, particularly vitamin B1, can support the nervous system and reduce stress. Magnesium and potassium also play important roles in muscle relaxation and hormone regulation. When the body has sufficient levels of these minerals, the ability to achieve deep sleep improves. These are small factors, but they have significant impact when combined. Finally, the quality of protein in the diet should not be overlooked. Protein not only supports muscle maintenance, but also helps detoxification and stabilizes blood sugar. A diet low in protein can worsen the issue you are experiencing. When you look at the full picture, you begin to see that waking up at 3 a.m. is not an isolated problem. It is the result of multiple factors related to metabolism, hormones, and liver function, and most importantly, all of these factors can be changed. But there is one thing you need to understand clearly before you leave this content. Your body does not send obvious warnings. It simply responds to what you repeat every day, and what you do during the day, especially in the evening, determines what happens in the middle of the night. If you continue maintaining the same habits, the result will not change. But if you begin adjusting small factors, from meal timing and food quality to light exposure and movement, the system will begin to respond differently. And that is when your sleep starts to return to what it used to be. But there is one point that very few people actually stop to think about, and it can completely change how you see this problem. Waking up at 3 a.m. is not a flaw of sleep. It is a message, a signal that your body is forced to send when the internal system can no longer maintain stability. And what makes it dangerous is not that you wake up once. It is that it repeats night after night. While you begin to accept it as a normal part of aging, you tell yourself that this is something everyone goes through as they get older. And that belief prevents you from ever looking for the real cause. But your body does not think that way. It does not recognize age in the way you assume. It only responds to signals. If the signals you send indicate that the system needs repair, it will attempt to repair. If the signals indicate disorder, it will adjust toward conservation and survival. This is why some people over 60 still sleep deeply and wake up full of energy, while others struggle every night. It is not because they are more fortunate, but because their biological system is receiving different signals, and those signals are created from very small choices repeated every day. If you have followed this far, you are not lacking information. What you are missing is a clear starting point. Not changing everything at once, but selecting one factor with the greatest impact and starting there. Begin with your evening, not by forcing yourself to sleep earlier, but by preparing for sleep to happen naturally. Reduce light, reduce stimulation, and most importantly, create enough distance between your last meal and the moment you lie down. Then observe how your body responds, not in a single night, but across many consecutive nights, because biological systems do not change from one action, but from intentional repetition. If you truly want to understand more deeply, pay attention to how your body responds during the day. Your energy levels, your hunger, the stability of your mind, all of these are indicators of how your internal system is functioning, and this is where everything becomes far more interesting than just sleeping well. When you begin to address the true cause, you are not just improving sleep, you are changing how your body processes energy, how it responds to stress, and how it recovers. This means sleep is only the surface of the iceberg. What you experience at night is just the visible expression of what is happening deep inside. And when you fix the root, everything else begins to adjust on its own. If you want to go further, the next video will help you understand exactly how your body switches between energy sources throughout the night, not through complex theory, but in a way you can recognize and apply in your daily life. But before you move on, there is one question you should ask yourself. Not whether you sleep well or not, but what signals you are sending to your body before you go to sleep. Because in the end, your body is not working against you. It is trying to protect you in the best way it can, based on the information you provide. And if that information is unclear, it will choose the safest option, even if that option forces you to wake up in the middle of the night. What keeps most people stuck in this problem is that they keep looking for solutions in the wrong place. They try to fix sleep by directly manipulating sleep. But sleep is not something you can force. It is the result of a chain of conditions set beforehand. And here is the twist that very few people realize. You are not waking up because your body is malfunctioning. You are waking up because your body is functioning correctly, responding precisely to what it is receiving. That means your system is not broken. It is simply being guided in the wrong direction. Once you understand this, your entire approach changes. You stop trying to control each symptom and instead begin adjusting the input signals. And when the signals change, the response changes. So instead of asking, how do I stop waking up at 3 a.m., try asking a different question. What is happening in my body before I go to sleep that makes this necessary? The point. That question will lead you to the real answer. If you found this helpful, share it with someone who is dealing with the same issue. Because many people believe they have a sleep problem, when in reality they have a metabolic system problem. And if you want to continue exploring how your body works after 61, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because what you see here is not tips. It is a way to understand the biological signals of your own body. Now tonight, as you prepare to go to sleep, do not just think about sleep. Think about the signals you are sending. And ask yourself one very simple question. Are you preparing your body to rest, or are you forcing it to wake you up at 3 a.m.?